Today we are going to be talking about malaria, also known as Plasmodium spp. There are two learning objectives. One, the student will be able to describe the transmission of Plasmodium spp from an insect vector to a host and how it relates to malarial infections. And two, the student will be able to identify at least two of the more infectious species of the genus Plasmodium.
First, we're going to go over Plasmodium taxonomy. Its kingdom is Protista with the subkingdom Protozoa. Along with this, its phylum is Apicomplexa, class is Sporozoicida, order is Eucocydurida, and family is Plasmodiae. Lastly, its genus is Plasmodium, and the species related to it are Vociferum, Malariae, Ovale, and Vivax.
So now we're going to move on to how malaria was treated historically. So historically, herbal brews made from chinchoa trees were used to treat malarial fevers, which contains the drug quinine. Due to shortages during World War II, synthetic alternatives were introduced like chloroquine and mepicrine. However, due to the overuse of these compounds, Plasmodium species has developed. Notably, however, due to the overuse of anti-malarial drugs and insecticides like DDT, many countries have experienced a resurgence of malaria.
The next thing we're going to talk about is the life cycle of Plasmodium. The first step occurs when an infected mosquito infects its host by injecting Plasmodium into its bloodstream. After this, the protozoa begin to rapidly replicate asexually in the liver. This causes sporozoites to form. Once this happens, Plasmodium enters the bloodstream and infects erythrocytes. This causes merozoites to form and replicate. These merozoites will continue to do so until they eventually burst and infect more erythrocytes. Next, upon feeding, another mosquito will inject the intererythrocytic gametocytes. This will undergo asexual reproduction and form motile oconets. These will then form oocysts, which will cause hundreds of infectious sporozoites.
So after an infective bite by a mosquito which carried the Plasmodium parasite, a certain time period goes by until the first symptoms starts to appear. So this time period is called the incubation period, and this lasts between 7 to 30 days. So during this time, the Plasmodium parasite goes under a life cycle until it reaches an active state called the merozoite state. And during this state, the parasite replicates in red blood cells until the cells lyse, and this lysing facilitates the parasite to spread and infect other red blood cells, which causes several symptoms. Malarial symptoms are classified into two types: the uncomplicated or mild symptoms and the complicated or severe symptoms. The uncomplicated symptoms can be controlled using medications, but the complicated symptoms cannot usually be controlled because they are caused by the most detrimental species of Plasmodium genus, which are Plasmodium falciparum and Plasmodium vivax.
Why is the genus Plasmodium important in terms of malaria? Well, malaria is one of the largest global health concerns. Although malaria is very rare in the United States with fewer than 20,000 cases per year, globally the microorganism Plasmodium falciparum alone causes roughly 86 million cases annually and 1 million deaths in sub-Saharan Africa. Over 130 Plasmodium species have been identified. However, most global malarial cases can be traced back to these four microorganisms. Plasmodium ovale being responsible for 1% of cases, Plasmodium malariae with 9.9%, Plasmodium falciparum with 39.6%, and finally Plasmodium vivax with 49.5%. These four roughly cause 219 million global cases of malaria annually, mainly affecting Africa, Indonesia, India, and Venezuela, as shown on the map, which indicates the number of malarial cases per 1,000 people at risk of catching the disease.